Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Harrowdeep.
Harrowdeep.
And we have just played our first game, and this is our wash-up video from it.
And that's it, Pete's retiring unbeaten.
Yep, 100% win rate in Harrowdeep. I mean, there's no better way to win.
It's better than your Darkling win rate.
Yeah, by quite a long way. I don't know how you felt about that game, but I just felt that game just seemed better than Chasm, and I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's having a break. I think you said that at the end of the last video. Having a break really helps.
Yeah.
I think we haven't played this for ages, and we've played a few other different games. And so I think we got an appreciation for some other things in those games, but I think now I can also remember what I liked about Underworlds, having played it almost exclusively for 4 years.
Yes. Yeah.
But for me, I don't know whether it's something I do to myself or whatever, but I didn't feel any pressure to perform. His dick.
Because it's just the cards you get in the box.
Exactly. And so I just really enjoyed it. It's like, well, I didn't even really know what's in the decks. It wasn't even optimised in any way, because at the end I was like, I don't know whether I should be fishing for cards or.
I mean, that is the problem, that we literally did pick this up today. We literally got given it today, and we played our first game. We haven't even had a chance to read through some of the cards. Now, had I realised what some of the cards were like in here, my opening set of cards I had, I might have discarded them and redrawn, because you can shuffle them back in again. Yeah. And I would have possibly fished for some of my first round Surge cards, maybe, and then possibly, because I think I had one Surge card which I then couldn't score after a bit of a mess up. So I don't know if it's the cards seem shinier, the artwork seems more vivid, all of these new keywords bouncing around are just a bit more exciting. I don't know what it is, but
keywords are quite good. I quite like that. That keeps everything succinct.
We were in danger, I think, or I was in danger, I think, at a couple of points of, and we probably have forgotten some points where either someone missed a re-roll because of staggered or something like that. But maybe not.
I don't know. It's impossible to know. We always find these things when you do the editing, or even when we get comments. I found it was just a bit less complicated than Chasm. Chasm had got quite bogged down in all its. That's the problem. The more cards you get, the more.
And it may be that because these are
the more interactions there are.
Yeah, it might be because these are the starting set cards. They are supposedly, that was technically also a rival game that we had.
Yeah.
Because it is just the faction specific cards.
And I know we've been a little bit sniffy about rivals, but it may be that there's only going to be 2 more warbands. But it just feels like actually it's quite a nice way to play, and I wouldn't mind picking up a rivals deck for, say, the Dread Pageant or any of the Chasm warbands, and playing against one of those, just seeing how it went.
One thing I would say is just flicking through these cards and looking at the objectives and things, this deck does feel like a more cohesive deck. There's a pattern to a lot of the cards as to what you want to be doing and the things you want to achieve. Some of them I don't think are very good in this matchup against Stormcast, because they're things like, kill somebody who's vulnerable, i.e. somebody who do 1 damage to somebody who's only got 1 wound. But I did have a situation where I did do that in this game.
So actually, their Stormcast aren't bad for that, because you can whittle them down.
Yeah, it's not like you accidentally kill someone.
I'm not sure about. They've got quite a lot to rely on being multiple people alive.
Yeah,
having 2 fighters inspired. See, having 2 fighters inspired is an interesting one, because it basically means have 1 fighter dead.
Yes.
Because you inspire as soon as 1 fighter's dead.
That does feel like a tricky one.
As soon as any more are dead, that's it. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Now, there are only 4 Surge cards in here for each of these, which I feel like if they're going to create a rival pack, it should have 6 Surges. It kind of feels like,
4,
to me, they should have 6 Surges and 1/3 end phase. This has 1/3 end phase in it, which is a 3 glory card for me, and I'm not sure if yours has any 3rd end phase.
It doesn't have any 3rd end phase. In fact, I wrote it down. So you've got 15 glory, 4 surges and 1/3 end phase. I've got 17 glory and 4 surges, but no 3rd end phase. But no third end phase. But my one of my 3 glory card is basically Annihilation, or not quite Annihilation and have 1 fighter left and only lose 1 fighter. So,
well, that's trickier. Yeah, not only losing 1 is trickier, but
so I feel that actually plays against you. I don't think you score that very often.
Yeah, I think there are maybe 1 or 2 in here that I wouldn't necessarily score as easily against you, but
I do have a card which means if I get all perfect hits, all successes and a hit, then I can get a extra unspent glory.
That's not bad.
But I did
unspent or spent?
Unspent. Sorry, spent. I get them around the wrong way
you
all the time.
always say that, yeah.
Yeah, spent glory. But after I picked up that card, I stopped rolling successes.
Crit hammer.
But I must have rolled 4, maybe 5 attacks with it, and I just didn't get it at all.
It's Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
One thing I've played some other games, and we haven't played exclusively Underworlds non-stop since, is I don't mind the dice mechanic. I don't think it's bad. It works quite nicely. I'm not sure I really like the crit mechanic as much as I used to, because it seems to make the game very swingy. It's like, I've got 2 dice, one of them's a crit, you roll 6 dice and none of them are crit, I still win, and that feels a bit...
It's not so bad I've only played one game.
Yeah.
There's not very many ways to add dice.
No, so I had one upgrade, I think.
And I had a couple of ways, but it's only once, one at a time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel so bad then when somebody's slinging, that basically in Chasm it felt like it was very much find your fighters and get them to throw as many dice as possible.
Yeah. And again, maybe that's just because these are rivals packs, so they're not completely uber optimised for that kind of thing.
These definitely lack any damage mod pluses. So there's no way. She's 3 hammers, which is great, but she only does 2 damage.
Because I think I've got a +1 damage
which is less than ideal. I might do, because I didn't get through very many of my upgrades. But
I've got one which gives me a reroll on the dice, which is nice. I've got one which is someone has the upgrade, if they assist somebody and that person attacking fails, then you do 1 damage with it.
I've got lots of healing things. I tell you what, actually, I found, again, it's the classic Stormcast problem. You've got one fighter who's accurate but doesn't do very much damage, and one fighter who's not very accurate but does lots of damage, and you always screw it up. I always screw it up.
I feel like the Kunnin Krew have got some real tricky abilities, which is going to be hard to master, but if you could make them really good. I mean, Crookgrin's Moneybag ability is fantastic. It's really good. But I mean, I didn't realise really the card that he was dead, so I couldn't do it. But I mean, it is quite specific. You do have to have Crookgrin and both of the minions alive, but
is Crookgrin the little one? One of the
Crookgrin is the
other little one.
Yeah, he's
not that little, but he's not.
He's not a minion. He's not one of the cruel boys.
So you've got 2 minions and then 2 big boys.
Yeah, and then Crookgrin, who sits in the middle there.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I just really enjoyed that game. I just felt like it was, maybe it's we had less pressure on ourselves to like you say, less pressure to perform in that situation because we were just picking those cards up, or what, I don't know, but just felt like an easier game. And maybe if we stick to these rival formats and we don't bother building decks so much, maybe
it's a tough one, because I feel like if we do stick to the rivals format, you guys out there probably won't watch it so much, because it's
maybe not
most of you are about the championship meta. Now that may be that you just have to suck it because if we want to play what we enjoy. It's a really difficult one for me. I like a little bit of deck building, and I've always enjoyed the game when there's kind of like 4 warbands out, and you haven't got very many cards to choose from. I think every single season
if you're playing Vanguard,
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, kind of. I think I've enjoyed it the most at that point. And then it always, for me, gets spoiled by too much choice.
I mean, I personally have really gone off deck building because it just takes so much time, and that's why I quite like the idea of rivals format.
Exactly. Well, I think that's why I like it when there's only 4 warbands, because although you have got some deck building options, you haven't got very many options. So it doesn't take as long because you've got far less combinations and permutations.
But it still does take up a good.
It does
at least I would say at least about an hour
to make a good one as well. That's the problem. You want to make a good deck, and we only play once a week. So I mean, I will be interested in trying to play these with some of the cards that are in the box.
We do have the Grand Alliance cards and stuff like that as well.
I think we probably should do that next. Maybe I think next we've got a visitor to the studio, and we'll probably be playing some straight up rivals. I think
straight up rivals. Maybe we'll see something from Chasm, possibly Beast Grave, but possibly not. But there you go.
But I am just going to add one small thing. One thing I found a little bit disappointing, it wasn't until the very last power step, with the very last activation, that anybody turned an objective token over.
That is true.
Which is a little bit sad.
Yeah.
And I do think it's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know about you, Pete, but can you remember which ones are
yes.
objectives?
That one there.
I think it's this one.
That one there, yes.
Okay, so we did remember.
But those two, I couldn't tell you which one was which until you turned.
Yeah, I had some fear because I thought, I'll just charge for a laugh, right? Because I was actually going to go there, and I thought, no, I'll just charge because I can, even though it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh God, I can't remember which one is which. So that's going to be an interesting thing in the game, especially for objective play. It's not going to be an interesting thing if objective play doesn't become a thing, because you just don't really need to know.
Care. But the fact that you can, put people onto 3 objectives and then flip them all over at the end of your round, whilst getting that benefit of having double assists as successes on your defence, does give you a little bit more.
It does. I don't know how many at the end of your activation cards there are left, because of course they don't work with that. Well, they work if you're on your opponent's power step, but they don't work for that.
Yeah.
Because your activation is finished, so your opponent has got time to knock you off. But I don't know how many actual cards are there left, because temporary victories cycled out. And
True, yeah.
So as of now,
there's still supremacy in the essentials deck and stuff.
Oh yeah. But I mean, because that's at the end. That's in an end phase, isn't it?
I see what you mean.
At the end of an activation,
like
hidden purpose and temporary victory, and I suppose there's a few faction specific ones, aren't there?
Yeah.
Spoilers have got their own.
Yeah, true.
I might play the spoilers when my man.
It's a strong choice.
When John comes, because I played him last time and he beat me, so I might play him again. He can beat me again.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, they've got some really good faction cards, and then some really shit ones.
Really, really bad. Like an objective for casting a spell, and then only one spell in the whole
something
deck,
like that.
So.
Yeah.
There we go. Do let us know what you're looking forward to in Harrowdeep. What things are switching you on? What things are turning you off?
Haribo. I'm looking forward to Haribo.
Haribo, yeah. As always, if you haven't, do like, subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up, because if you don't ring that bell, you won't see any of our other content. And we'll see you soon in the Harrowdeep.